Hello, my name is James, and welcome to Mirror Domains, and this is a movie review for The Irishman, directed by Martin Scorsese, and stars Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Joe Pesci, Anna Paquin, Jesse Plemons, and Harvey Keitel, Ray Romano. I mean, the cast in this is legendary. It's right up there. And this is something that's been coming out for, a while now that people have been talking about this. And I have built up my hype for it by watching a lot of the trailers. And if you are curious about any of the trailer reactions and such that I did, I will leave links to those up in the cards above because it helps paint a nice little story as to what my anticipation for what this movie was going in. Now, it got released today on Netflix, and it's been out in theaters in limited release. So we're going to talk through this, and it's a rather long movie. So I'm going to try to be a little bit concise with my review, but if it's a little bit lengthy, so be it. Now, I like this movie quite a bit. It would be in my top 10 for sure. I'm not sure if it's going to be in my top 5. That list just, it comes in, towards the end of the year where I just got to think about it. I got to finalize it. And, thinking about this movie, the acting is obviously the number one standout here. It's the one thing that you guys really want to see. I'll talk about the de-aging stuff here in a bit, but obviously it's a De Niro movie. He's the central character, and Pesci and Pacino, who plays Jimmy Hoffa, are like the side characters around him and support him and his character. That is, he plays like a mob hitman who recounts what's going on with the Jimmy Hoffa thing. His name is Frank Sheeran. Now, I'm not too sure if these names are based off of real people. They say that these people are real people in the movie. They give like dates of when they were killed and everything. That's just kind of more of a historian's take on it that they'll have to take. And I didn't really pay that much mind to it because I was just looking at what I was watching because of the performances, because of the direction, and because of the subject matter. It was just Scorsese is known for these gangster type movies. I was kind of curious to see it being tied into actually some American lore, some history. And I'm not too sure if it's doing it really justice or not, or if it's kind of like one of those takes where it's kind of like, we're taking our own liberties with the story. I don't feel like it did any injustice to the story, as far as I know. I'm not a historian, so I'm not going to dwell on that too much. I got to say right out of the bat, it's long. That's something that you're going to have to be prepared and conscientious of going into this. This is 3.5 hours. It's something that you're going to have to be prepared for. It's like 3 hours and 29 minutes. It's something that can be broken up and, paused every now and then. That's what I did. I believe I started it at 11 this morning, and it's just before 4 here now, and that I just finished watching it. And I'm just trying to absorb it. It's not something that's, flinging stuff at you story-wise where you just kind of where you have to be like, oh, wow, well, that's over my head. Oh, wait, let me think about that. No, it's something a little bit more straightforward. It's just cool to see these actors on screen together, and they all get their moments to have those times to shine. I thought that was really cool. Like you get De Niro and Pacino moments, and those are really cool. And you get De Niro and Pesci moments. Yeah, that's really cool stuff, man. But one of my favorite scenes, and it's just a small scene, is between Pacino and Pesci. Just because of how restrained Pacino was in that scene, because you can tell that things and emotions were just bubbling behind the surface behind him. I can't champion the acting in this enough. And to learn afterwards that a lot of it was that de-aging stuff where they were on set, but then they made them look younger. I can tell you this. We might as well address this now. This was one of the big things about this movie, why it got delayed somewhat, because they really wanted to craft this de-aging concept where we get to see De Niro and these characters throughout the years. Now, I will grant you, there will be people out there that will tell you that, I don't know, some of it's a little bit cringeworthy. But for me, I was kind of prepared for it going in. I knew that, some of the scenes may look a little bit meh. But for me, I just kind of like, I'm not really there to look at it for that. And after a while, it became a little bit hard to tell as to which scenes were the de-aged and which were not. You can obviously tell that, yes, some of them had to be de-aged, but for me, I never felt like it was something that took away from the film. Now, it could be for some people who are sticklers, but for me, it never did. I never felt like it took me out of the film. It was just kind of curious to see how well they were going to be able to pull it off. And it's not 100%, but I would say it's like 90-95% there. They did a really good job with the skin tones and such like that. I just felt like it never took me out of the picture, and I felt like, Martin Scorsese, he's doing something here. He's trying to push the envelope, and that's what I like to see. Something where you see a project like this, and they're really trying to push the envelope beyond just what the normal story is. Even though the story does have a little bit of problems, and that's just because of the directing and the execution, which I'll get to towards the end when I get a little bit more analytical. I just want to talk a little bit more about, the visual effects. They did a lot of visual effects that are so seamless that you wouldn't even know that they were visual effects. And I'm talking about what's going on in the backgrounds, because they had to make things look like it came from that era. And you'll be shocked, I think, when you see some of the visual effects reels as to, wait a minute, that set wasn't there? Oh, wait a minute, that wasn't like that? It's because when you look at it, it's just a normal street, or it's just a normal building, and it's just like, they did a good job with that. The achievements in the technical aspects, I would have to say, is one of the stronger points. But without spoiling too much, I mean, you can't really spoil too much, really, with this story. You know from history, if not from school, then from, just the common zeitgeist of what we are, our culture, that Hoffa went missing. And this movie explores that. It shows us possibilities as to what happened. And for the most part, I think it was pretty good. It was a fairly well done film that I think a lot of people will be mulling over and stewing over because of the scope of it. It's a big movie. I mean, from timeline wise, because we follow them from being a younger age to being pretty well on death's door, pretty much. So it was kind of interesting to see that progression. Now, let's talk about a few things that, that'll be takeaways for me before I get into the score sheet. It is the length and has a bit of a long denouement, which means after the climax happens, things drag on a little bit. And that's just a directing choice. Do I dock him for it? On first watching, I was kind of like, do I need that? I'm tempted to fast forward. No, I'm not going to, out of respect. But on second viewings, I think a lot of people will probably say, it goes on a bit too long. Product placement, I felt like maybe a few things stuck out a little too much, but it's, I like Canadian Dry for some reason. God, I like it. It's just a nice flavor. But yeah, there's just some minor things about the story length. Could they have tightened it up some? Yes, I think they could have. And that's where the story and the directing gets its docked points. All right, I'm not going to ramble on too much longer. Let's just take a look at the score sheet. Here it is for The Irishman. It's an 8.5 out of 10. And as I said, the acting is a full 2 points. The story and the directing get docked 0.5. the story, yeah, 0.5 because of the length there. The score and the cinematography. The score, it's interesting. It's noteworthy, but it's not something that you will want to own. So that's 0.5. The cinematography, I give a full point because a lot of the shots are well done, well lit. It's a beautiful film, and he uses a lot of different lenses so you can get some wide scope shots. It's interesting. I like the cinematography. And as far as the watchability factor, you're going to want to watch it at least once because people are going to be talking about this. You're going to probably want to watch it twice if you're a student of acting, just because of the scenes. There's scenes in this where you're just going to be like, wow. Oh, okay. Now, don't get overhyped by that though. It's something that people can maybe perhaps a little overhype. Just know that it's not a performance. They're not. Yeah, there are performances in it that'll make you go, yeah, that's cool. But there are also some nice dialed back, reserved performances, and maybe some people will dock it for that. Especially with the De Niro character, some people may dock it for that. And if you want to own it, because you get to see these titans of the big screen together, it's breathtaking. All right. So that's my journey with The Irishman. I'm glad that it's out now. I'm glad that people are going to be able to experience it on Netflix and in limited release in the theaters. I would totally recommend seeing it, but just know it's long. Be prepared for it. You could probably watch it in segments, as I said. But, The Irishman. It's going to be in my top 10 for sure. And that's it. I hope you enjoy it. YouTube is recommending a video for you to watch right here, and you can see my latest one just right up there. My name is James, and you're watching Mirror Domains. If you've liked what you've seen, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe.